I am 6 years old. My name, it doesn't matter. My mother always said, "You are my future." My world was small. A single-room house with cracked walls, the narrow streets outside, the tiny shop on the corner. Yet to me, it was endless. Mornings smelled of bread. My mother baked flat loaves in the clay oven, her hands covered in flour, her face glowing with sweat. I followed my father to his shop. His hands were rough from lifting sacks of rice, but his smile was gentle. He lifted me into the sky. "Look, son," he said, "the sky is wide, and so are your dreams." I laughed, believing I could touch the clouds. To me, my father was stronger than the walls around our house, louder than the bombs I had not yet heard. But one day, he left and never came back. The knock at the door was quiet, but my mother's sobs were loud. 2 men stood with their heads bowed. My mother's knees gave way. I pulled her sleeve, asking, "Where is Baba?" She pressed my head against her chest and whispered, "Your father is in the sky now. He is watching us." I didn't understand death, but I understood absence. His arms never lifted me again. His voice never filled our nights. That day, silence moved into our home, and laughter moved out. After my father's death, my mother changed. She no longer sang while baking bread. She no longer told stories at night. Her face was lined, her eyes shadowed, but when she looked at me, I still saw fire, determination. Every night, she whispered the same words. "No matter what happens, I will give you a new life. We will leave this place. I will find a land where the sun shines and no bombs fall." Outside, the war devoured everything. Windows shook, sirens screamed, explosions split the nights. I trembled, but in her arms, I felt safe. She pressed my ears against her chest so I would hear her heartbeat instead of the bombs. One evening, she packed a small bag, a few shirts, some bread, and my little teddy bear. She looked at me, eyes full of fear and courage. "We are leaving," she said. "This place is no longer safe." That night I realized she would risk everything, her blood, her life, her soul, just to keep me alive. We walked into the night under a trembling moon. Clouds covered its face, as if even the sky was ashamed of what it saw below. The road was crowded with strangers, men carrying sacks, women carrying babies, children too tired to cry. My mother held my hand tightly. Her palm was wet with sweat, her fingers trembling. Every squeeze said, "I am here." I squeezed back. "I am here too." We passed through broken streets where shadows moved like ghosts. Dogs barked, then fell silent. Somewhere far away, a gunshot cracked the night. Everyone froze. Then, slowly, footsteps resumed, heavier than before. Hours passed. My legs ached. Stones cut my feet through worn shoes. Hunger clawed at my belly. A baby wailed, its mother pressing it to her chest, rocking desperately. Another man stumbled, falling to his knees. Someone pulled him up. We were strangers, yet one body, bound by fear. We stopped at the ruins of a house. My mother gave me half a piece of bread, keeping only crumbs for herself. She told me to sip water slowly. My lips were cracked, my throat dry, but I obeyed. Then, flashlights, footsteps. Someone hissed, "Quiet!" We held our breath. Light slid across the wall, glinting on broken glass. I pressed into my mother's chest. Her heartbeat thundered in my ear. "It will pass," she whispered, and somehow I believed her. Later, we entered an olive grove. The twisted trunks rose like old hands in prayer. Leaves brushed against each other, whispering secrets. Endure. My shoes filled with dust, heels blistered. A girl without her mother slipped her hand into mine. My mother took my other hand. For that moment, I felt like the three of us carried the whole world. Finally, the border. Barbed wire stretched like sharp fangs. A man threw a blanket over it. One by one, people crawled through. My mother crouched, lifted me, pressed my head to her chest. My hair snagged on the barbs. Her hand shielded me, skin tearing. Blood ran down her arm, but she whispered, "Pain doesn't matter. Living does." On the other side, the air smelled different. Wet grass, faint salt of the sea. Someone whispered, "Beyond the sea, Italy." A child asked, "Is it far?" A woman answered, "It is hope." We waited until nightfall. The sea was said to be calmer at night, though I soon learned the sea never truly sleeps. The rubber boat lay on the sand, patched, fragile, trembling in the wind. They pushed us in. My knees touched cold water immediately. The old man beside me broke a date in half, offering it with a smile that did not reach his eyes. The motor coughed, sputtered, roared to life. My hand clung to my mother's skirt. It smelled of salt. It smelled of fear. The first wave lifted us. The boat rocked, children cried. Mothers clutched their babies. Men shouted, "Hold on!" A man began to pray aloud in Arabic, another in Farsi, another in Kurdish. Dozens of languages, one single plea. I whispered too, "Please." No stars. Clouds swallowed them. Only the motor's steady heartbeat. Vrr, vrr, vrr. Each sound was life. Salt burned my lips. My mother brushed wet hair from my face. "Are you all right?" she asked. "Yes," I lied. It was the first lie of my life, to protect her from my fear. The waves grew taller. Conversations shrank to fragments. Child. Water. Soon. A woman retched. Someone rubbed her back. A tiny hand grabbed mine, frozen fingers. I held it tight, trying to send warmth through my skin. Once, the motor died. Silence pressed down on us. The sea roared. People began to cry. Then, the motor coughed back. Relief swept through the boat. My mother looked up and whispered, "Thank you." Time bent. Minutes became hours. Hours became years. Waiting itself became courage. Then lightning tore the sky. The wind screamed. Waves hammered us. Water filled the bottom. A man cut a plastic jug, scooping frantically. A woman joined him, splashing water back into the sea. The sound of their effort mixed with the motor's growl. My mother draped her thin sweater over my shoulders. She tied a knot in the loose seam, as if she could mend the whole broken world with her fingers. "Look," she whispered, pointing into the darkness. I saw nothing. "There will be lights there. Children your age, schools, games." I didn't see lights, but I believed because I saw them in her eyes. The sea grew cruel. Waves struck like fists. The boat groaned, shuddered, tipped. And then it flipped. The world spun. Sky and sea became one. Salt filled my mouth, choking me. Darkness pressed into my chest. I screamed for my mother, but the water swallowed my voice. Then, her hands. She pulled me close. Her face was soaked, but she smiled. She tore off her life jacket. "I saved this for you." "But Mama," my words drowned. "My duty is for you to live. No matter what happens, survive. Promise me. For me, you must go on." She strapped it onto me, pulling the straps tight. Her eyes never left mine. "Promise me," she whispered again. Another wave struck. Her hands slipped. The last thing I saw was her smile, brave, unbroken. Then she was gone. Hands dragged me to shore. My chest heaved. Water spilled from my lungs. "Breathe!" someone shouted. I coughed, gasped, clung to life. But she was not there. I searched the waves, looked for her scarf, her arms, her face. Nothing. Only floating shoes, broken bags, a child's doll. I fell to my knees. Sand scraped my skin. Tears spilled, mixing with the sea. The life jacket clung to my chest. Her last gift, her last breath, tied around me. That night, they built a fire. Flames flickered, but I felt no warmth. Children whimpered, men stared at the ground. Nobody said her name. I whispered it silently, again and again. When I slept, I dreamed she was still there, smiling above the water. When I woke, only silence. Days passed in the camp. Tents flapped in the wind. Soup lines stretched. Children cried in the night. I held my teddy bear tight. My mother's voice echoed inside me. Today, her voice still lives in me. At night, I dream of the sea. Sometimes I see her smile. Sometimes I feel her arms. But always, I hear her words. You must live, no matter what happens. I am still here. Because she gave me her only life jacket. Because she gave me her life. Now, every step I take carries her promise. When I go to school, when I learn a new word, when I open a book, her voice whispers inside me, live, go on, for me. And I do. I live with the last breath she left me. Her words guide me. I am her future.